Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Adam Bernard, your ChemBro, for the first ever ChemBro Conversation. ChemBro is my book, ChemBro Embracing Beast Mode to Beat Cancer, and it came out about a year ago. In celebration of this, I put up a video on various forms of social media asking folks to submit their questions if they have any questions about the book, cancer, writing, pretty much any question in general. And the response was huge. The video got a ton of views, and I got a whole bunch of questions that I want to go through. And I know some authors like to have one book up behind them, but I went a little overboard. Yeah, I got a lot of books up behind me. I got some books, oh yeah, over there. See, over there in the books. But I also got them, over there too. But I like those books over there. All right, we've got the bro part out of the way now. So, let me get some of your questions. I put them in different categories. I have cancer questions, I have book questions, and then I have, we'll just call it potpourri, in honor of Jeopardy. And if anyone out there from Jeopardy is listening, I am available to host. Whether you want me to or not after watching this video is a whole nother story. So, let's get to the cancer questions first, because I think some of those are the most pressing. First question. What advice would you give to someone who has a family member going through chemo and wants to be supportive but not intrusive? Okay, great question, because I know a lot of friends, when I was diagnosed and when I was going through chemo, openly told me, we don't know how to talk to you about this. And that's something a lot of people go through. They want to help, but they don't know how. One of the things I am most thankful for are the friends who, one, didn't treat me any differently, and two, the friends that visited and basically just sat down and said, hey, what are we watching? Or talked about baseball for a couple hours. They knew I wasn't quite going to be as active as I was, despite my gym regimen and everything else. So I had one friend who came over regularly after she was done with work, sat down and was like, hey, what are we watching? And if you can do that for your friends or family who are going through chemo, it is so huge. Just being with somebody, being with a friend is huge. So that is something you can definitely do to be supportive. All right, these next two questions are very similar, so I want to group them together. I'm going to do that a few times. The first one is, have you changed your diet since the diagnosis? And if so, what are you doing differently? And the second one is, what do you think of claims that diet not only can lead to cancer, but can also cure it? Okay, diet since the diagnosis, I'm a health freak. I think anyone who knows me knows that. I haven't had fast food, soda, or candy in close to 20 years. So after I was diagnosed and I was about to go through chemo, I asked my oncologist, I'm like, hey, is there anything I should change in my diet? And he just said, no, you're doing everything right. So I have a feeling if I was eating bad food, he would have told me you got to cut that out. But because I wasn't, I didn't have to change anything. When it comes to claims that diet can lead to cancer, I'm not sure there are any foods that are like cigarettes, that like if you do it, you're actively almost trying to give yourself cancer. But I do know an unhealthy lifestyle leaves you susceptible to illness, leaves you susceptible to disease. So right off the bat, you're hurting yourself, not just right now, but down the line. In terms of curing it, I wish there was a superfood that cured cancer. If there was, it would be a lot easier. There isn't, that I know of, and that any doctor knows of right now. However, once again, the healthier you are, the stronger you will be to get through it. That's another huge thing. If you've left yourself open to illness by having this unhealthy lifestyle, it's going to be harder to get through it. If you're a healthy person, it's going to help you get through it. My doctor even told me my healthy lifestyle, my working out, and my diet would make getting through chemo, and I'm going to put air quotes on this, easier. It's never easy, but in comparison to someone who wasn't healthy, I had an easier time. All right, let's see here. All right, next question. How important was music throughout your challenges, and what other tools or things did you use to help you through? Music, and actually specifically my music industry community. I know industry rule number 4080, but there wasn't very much shadiness. My friends who are artists, my friends in PR, my friends who are managers, really came through for me and were incredible. The other tools I used, I would say, working out, everybody knows. The whole book is about it. But the three biggest things, and I like to stress this in the book and in life: positive mind state, warrior spirit, good sense of humor. Those things absolutely helped me through, and I really feel that they can help someone through pretty much anything. All right, these next two we're going to combine. So, 1, at any time did you have trouble believing your positivity and gym regimen would be successful? And 2, in your darkest moments during all of your experience from diagnosis to the publishing of the book, what were some of the ways you pulled yourself from those dark points? So I think these go together because I was extremely positive throughout the entire process. As I just mentioned, positivity, warrior spirit, and good sense of humor. I would not say I had any particularly super dark moments. I did not allow myself darkness at that point. I celebrated little victories, even if the victory was getting out of bed and brushing my teeth. In terms of the weakest moments, the biggest thing that got me through is that I knew it was temporary. And I went into this treating chemo as an aggravation. I said, okay, this is my new schedule. I will wake up in the morning, I will eat breakfast, I will go to chemo. When I'm unhooked from everything, I will eat lunch, go to the gym, and go on about my day until I don't have the energy anymore. So I think those two things, knowing it was temporary and treating it as an aggravation, definitely got me through. And I never for a second doubted that my way of getting through this would be successful. Never for a second. All right, moving on to book questions, because I got some great questions about the writing of the book and putting it together. The book. First question was, how did you get the courage to bare your soul for everyone to see in this book? First of all, I didn't think of it as courageous. In the book, I have a whole chapter about being called an inspiration and how it took me a while to come to terms with that word. Courageous is another word and concept I've taken some time to come to terms with. I honestly didn't think of it as bearing my soul until the night before it was going to be published. The night before, I was saying like, this is a lot of personal stuff about me that's about to be out in the world. But honestly, my main thought was, if it can help one person, totally worth it. Totally worth it if it can help one person. And from what I've heard and from the feedback, it has helped at least one person. So I'm extremely happy, and that is what definitely gave me the courage. All right, here two I'm going to combine. Told you I was going to do that a few times. So one is, what was something you wrote for the book that you liked but didn't make it into the final edit? And 2, is there something you thought of after the book was written that you wish you had added as part of the journey? I can honestly say no to both of those things because Alexander, my content editor, was fantastic in drawing some extra things out of me during the content editing process. I also have to say that a lot of people were like, why are you pitching the book? Why don't you just self-publish it? A great content editor is one of the many reasons I didn't self-publish it. As writers, we tend to think we know everything, but having a great editor is such a huge help. So he is the reason that everything I wanted made it in there, and there was nothing afterwards where I was like, shoot, I forgot to add this. Also, when it comes to editing, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I kept adding stuff until I finally told my publisher, like, you're just going to have to publish this because I'm going to be totally neurotic about it. And she did. Shout out to Dreaming Big Publications, you rock. Let's see, next one. As a journalist who usually interviews others about their lives and experiences, how did you broach this endeavor you had to play dual roles? Okay, so first of all, I am an old soul. Everyone who knows me knows I still have my brick phone, and I actually use a paper date book rather than anything digital. It's actually not even a date book. It's a notepad where I write the dates on it and what I'm going to do on those days. When I went to outline the book, I just went through the date book and flipped through it and saw everything that had happened in my life, and that really made it so all the memories came out. It was a great way to jog memories, and boom, at that point, the book almost wrote itself. I won't say totally wrote itself, but almost wrote itself. Oh, if you'll excuse me, I have to move my leg now because it's in a really uncomfortable position. You have no idea what I'm getting into to sit here with this behind me, but totally worth it. All right, final question about the book. Are you ready to write book number 2? Not yet. Quite frankly, I don't know what it would be about yet. I do hope that if another book comes out of me, it will not require me to have a near-death experience again. But who knows? I'm always open to doing anything, and I'm open to wherever this book takes me. All right, now I have 3 questions that are other questions or potpourri. First question. Have you kept your promises to yourself that you made early on, or did you not make any promises to yourself during recovery? I'm not sure I was making any promises to myself other than the ones that I speak about in the book in terms of hitting my goals. That first promise of I'm making my 5th degree black belt test. And that second promise to myself of I'm competing in the CrossFit Open. So those were the promises I made to myself, and they were really about hitting goals. And I will say, if anyone's going through cancer, hitting a goal, having a goal, and then going for it is so huge. It's so huge to have something to shoot for. I highly recommend it. And I guess the one other promise I made myself, and it's sort of a continuing one, is to pay it forward. And I think I've been doing a good job of that in terms of helping others, in terms of lending a hand whenever I can. And hopefully this book also counts as a way of paying it forward in terms of helping others. All right, next one is, you're such a positive person. Thank you. And it showed in the book. Thank you again. Have you ever thought about becoming a motivational speaker? You know, right now I'm really enjoying one-on-one mentoring of others who are going through tough times. Some are going through cancer, some are going through other things. I like having that relationship of being able to help. So if it's on a larger level, I would have no problem standing in front of an auditorium of people and speaking about my genitals. So, I mean, isn't that everybody's dream? So, yeah, I would have no problem at all doing that. I actually took a motivational speaking course in college, and at the end, when we were all asked why we did it, I said it's because I thought it was easy. And the professor said, you know, you're the only person who would ever say that. I was being very honest because I think it was like second semester senior year, and I kind of knew I was out of there. Oh, speaking of college, the final question, and I hadn't said anybody's name because I wanted to keep people anonymous, but Zaz, that is as close as I'm coming to naming somebody. Zaz, you get named simply because of this question. Zaz asked, because we've known each other for 20 plus years, that's right, freshman year, Hofstra University, Hague House. How does it feel to know you look even cooler without hair? Woo! First of all, thank you. You know, it feels good. It also feels like a relief. Because when I first learned I was going to lose all my hair, I was like, well, that happened a little quicker than expected. I mean, listen, it was going... I'm not going to fool myself into thinking I was going to have a full head of hair all my life. But the biggest concern when it came to losing all my hair was, do I have a lumpy head? Because you don't know that until you lose all your hair. So I was very relieved. Thank you to my parents for not dropping me on my head, or if they did drop me on my head, to continually even it out. I appreciate it. That was huge. And Yeah, man, I keep a little bit now just because I don't want anyone to think I'm going through treatments again. And let me tell you, it's way easier in the morning. Just wake up and you're ready to go. Also, I save a ton on shampoo. Okay, not a ton, but like I only have to buy one thing of shampoo a year. So, listen, those were great questions, everybody. Thank you so much for the questions for this first ever ChemBro Conversation. If you haven't picked up the book yet, please do. If you have the book and you read it and you loved it and you want to pass it along to somebody else, do it. Do it. I am absolutely here for sharing. So, I am Adam Bernard. I am the ChemBro. These are the books. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for submitting. And I will see you soon. Peace.